Are you ready to get your first or next 1,000 Instagram followers? Admittedly, it's not as easy as it used to be. Gone are the days when you can simply post even a single image and get a flood of likes, comments, and of course, new followers. But it's not impossible. We're going to be discussing a key factor towards growth on Instagram and sharing a few tips we use ourselves to grow our followers and build a community. So let's get into it today as we help you step your gram up on the latest episode of the Social Roundtable. Was or is the most effective strategy you use to gain your first 1,000 followers or any set at any point in time during your journey on Instagram to get that certain amount on Instagram?
Yeah, no, this is a really good question. And I think it's so interesting because, as you mentioned, Instagram is just changing all the time. And we've grown accounts for people at different times and different phases of Instagram, the platform. So when we're thinking about when we started our accounts in February of 2014 or November of 2014 was the first time that we started our account. That was just pure consistency and engagement. And that was like back in the day where it was just like, hey, we're all talking, which is actually the fundamental and still true to this day, which is like, we were going out there and we were building relationships and talking to people. So we knew the audience that we wanted, and we were like, we're going to consistently show up for them. And we're also going to not only just consistently show up, but engage with people and make sure that we're creating those relationships. So we created a lot of relationships. One of our first clients that led us to Sony was actually from an Instagram post that was just like cheeky, that, and from like us seeing another brand that we liked and going back and forth and talking to each other. And then they ended up referring us to that client in the end. So it was like just those real relationships that we were building. And then things continue to evolve over time. I think content really changed. So in the end, like for us and for a lot of our clients, we really focus on value driven content. Yeah. So really making sure that you're giving someone something in exchange for like what is not as easy to come by as it was back in the day, which before it was just like, okay, yeah, follow. Now it's kind of like, okay, well, the algorithm is going to show me anything that I want technically. So like someone really has to give you a reason to be like, oh, I don't want to miss out on this content. Like I really want to make sure that I catch it. And that's why it's also very important to stay consistent, I would say, on stories too. Because in the end, you want to make sure that that's a really good connection piece, like outside of the feed, to make sure that you're nurturing the audience that you already have. So it's one thing to get them to follow, but you should consistently show up not only in feed, but in stories to make sure you're able to continuously nurture that relationship. So that's something where it's like not enough to post on feed. Like you need to be engaging, you need to be DMing and having those conversations. And you really need to be thinking of your audience as not 1,000 followers. It's 1,000 true people, like true humans that you should be wanting to have conversations with, that you should be wanting to build relationships and build that trust with, so that they decide to convert to whatever offer you have with you versus anyone else. Because the follower is just a follower, but it doesn't mean anything in the end if it doesn't convert to the thing that you're trying to do with what you have. So that's also super important as well.
That you said that in regards to the IG story aspect, because a lot of people, let's be real, you can't get followers from IG stories, but it helps you keep the ones that you currently have. Sometimes people are so focused on getting more followers, getting more followers. You kind of ignore the ones that you currently have, and then they feel like you're just pushing them to the wayside.
Yeah, I think it's like there's essentially like a paradigm shift that Instagram has gone through. Like Tiff was saying, we're all in the beginning, you're sort of obsessed with followers because that's how you saw content. But now, because of the AI suggestions, it's not. Like we have a dog, there he is. And we get a lot of dog content fed to us individually. But we realized this the other day, like we don't really follow any of those accounts because I'm like, it's going to keep giving me dog content, so I don't really care. There's like one little dog who kind of looks like ours. He's got a multi-poo. So I remember we both followed him because he's really cute. He's got regular content. Well, him, I guess it's his mum or dad, but the dog is always turning up. So yes, I really think that's important. But also, like, I think it's almost like unhealthy to get too worried about followers when it's just the behaviors have changed. So I think we all need to, and I mean every one of us, because all four of us here have also came up in the time when followers were the only thing that matters. But like I wouldn't like put all the focus on it, but it's coming back to what Tiff said about that delivering like insane outweighing value, like value beyond anything that you can give people. Like that almost feels like I should be selling this. Like you should be sort of questioning yourself, that's how much value that you're given. Yeah. And it seems once again like a basic thing, but we've been really trying to do that. We have our membership channel on YouTube as well, and we price that at such a low price point that, you know, and for what they get for it is so outweighed that it's like we feel like that is how you're going to stand out, because we actually care about the people. So it's, you got to care about the audience, like you said, man, that people feel like your existing followers might feel like they're being ignored because you're just chasing that next one. So serve them the best you can, give as much insane amount of value as possible, and be consistent. If you do all of those things, that will get people wanting to not miss out. As Tiff said, like, they're going to want to hit the follow button because they don't want to rely on the AI suggestions.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that you see the content. The only other thing I would add, which is probably speaking to your passion, Heston, is the chatbot. So ManyChat is probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to Instagram, I would say. And once you're, maybe even if you're getting, you don't have to have like tons of followers for it to work, but just those CTAs and at the very, just the simplest use of ManyChat, which, comment a word and you get the DM. When you're showing up in stories every day, and then you're able to get people in the DMs via automation, they're going to be served your stories every day. You're going to stay top of mind to them. And then that will also help with the feed posts as well. So sort of leveraging the tools.
And something that I noticed that you guys are discussing, or I should say there's two words that I'm noticing that you guys are floating around. It's being social and serving. And I think most people don't realize that you should be doing both if you want to actually build a community, because that's what a community is about. You're socializing with others and you're serving their needs to some degree. That it's kind of, it goes back and forth because they do the same for you in a certain way as well.
I just want to emphasize it's really going to come down to having a consistent, intentional strategy. So knowing why you're on the platform, what you're hoping to achieve, and then doing the actions towards your goal. So not just focusing on the 1,000 followers, focusing on the actions every day that will help you grow your audience in general, and the 1,000 will come as a result. So that's the one thing, which is stay consistent, have your content pillars ready, make sure that when you have your audience, you know who they are and you're speaking directly to them. If you do not have content pillars created, that is one of the biggest like misses that you'll have in terms of being able to show up intentionally. Are we able to share our free? We have a free content pillars framework. Maybe like if you DM us pillars on Instagram, it'll send to you automatically, actually. So there you go. But basically that pillars framework will allow you to go through and make sure that every post has a purpose, that it's attached to your audience, that the topics are relevant, and that they ladder back up to your goals, because that's the number one thing. Otherwise you're just posting to post and everybody can feel that it's disjointed like that and you'll never grow that way. So that's a big part, is like knowing what you're doing and why. That's the big part of it. So yes.
Awesome. I love that.
That's so important. I mean, because you're right. Everyone wants to know those specific things, like what can I actually do? And really, you have to know the purpose behind your post and following that strategy consistently to be able to analyze and make changes when needed. So that was a really important add. Thank you for that. Well, because it really is about that overall consistency and showing up to analyze, make changes as you need to, and reminding yourself of your overall goal every day and connecting to that one person, right? People, not just numbers. All of those things that we've stated so far. Some actionable things that you could take away would be to start a series that's personal to you, that's unique to you. So not just like I'll say I actually did this. I did Instagram tips part 1 through whatever 100, but that was like 2 years ago, right? That stuff back then really was crushing it. Still will do okay, but what I'm talking about is the more personalized journey, the one that's like, watch me lose 100 pounds, or come along on my journey while I hit X amount of figures in my business. And you're showing them either day in, day out, or week by week, your ups, downs, strategies, etc. Right? So if it's not personal, it's just a fun fact, great, that's anyone could Google that, then I don't care to follow, because it might be cool, but I want to know your journey. So if you are a personal brand, or you are a brand that has a face somewhere, to be able to show that in a content original series would be really, really helpful for quick action steps that you could take. And honestly, it's going to be different for every niche, but that could be really, really effective right now. People are loving the story that goes behind it, and it makes them feel connected to the person, not just the facts that are getting spit out to them in posts.
It kind of relates to the whole AI aspect of, just being able to get whatever information we want, whether from AI, from Google. We don't want that anymore, as you kind of stated. We want something a little bit more real, a little bit more personal, because we could just chat GPT most of this stuff nowadays and get it quicker, faster. We want to deliver something a little bit more authentic and connects that audience member to us, correct?
Right, exactly. And they might like that post. They might save that post. They might send that post, like the fact one they could Google, or they might comment on it, but they might not follow because they don't have a reason to continue because they're going to see a similar style post tomorrow on their explore page. So that journey, that signature series helps them say, oh, I want to follow them.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an actionable tip of something that I could definitely relate to. It is something that we are actually doing right now, even though it's on YouTube. Collaborations. Collaborations are, to me, next level. I've been doing them probably since I had 100 followers. I'll do them until I have, I don't know, 100,000 followers. And I could probably tell you, if I ever get to that point, it'll be the collaborations mostly that probably were the ones that got me to that level, because collaborations, to me, it's like word of mouth shout outs from another person that is respective to their audience. And if their audience sees them saying, hey, go ahead and give this friend a shout out, because they work with them in some form of way on Instagram, whether it's a collaborative reel, whether it's a IG live where it's multiple people on it. That's one of those individuals saying, I approve this person. I I promote them, and you should be following them as well. And I look at that. I mean, there's no other better form of marketing than word of mouth, right? And this is just word of mouth digitally, but it's in the form of a shout out from one person to another. So I love the idea of collaborations. It's also a great opportunity for you to kind of get to know, like, and trust somebody else through someone else that you already know, like, and trust. So there's so many different factors at play here. As long as it's a collaboration that it works with you in regards to that person's audience. You know, if I specialize in one type of industry that is completely not relative to my other potential collaborators' audience, it might not work and gel as much as if it was an audience that could kind of relate to that interest. So make sure you're choosing the right people to collaborate with. I think that's really key. You don't want to just say yes to every type of collaboration that comes near you or to you, but collaboration is definitely next level. To me, it increases your brand awareness, akin to a shout out, and sometimes it can be really viral. I've had an experience where somebody has shouted me out in their IG stories. They mentioned me by IG stories, and overnight, I grew 1,200 followers. So it could definitely happen. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it. You just kind of got to play it smart. So that would be my answer to that one. So there you guys go. We giving you guys different tips and strategies on how to gain your next 1,000 followers. And if you don't have 1,000 followers yet, these tips should probably help push you to that next level. So we hope that you utilize what we're stating here. And as I always say, take it and step your gram up. We're going to move over now